opening statement. After Coach's opening statement, we'll take questions for the student athletes. After questions for the student athletes, we'll then circle back with questions for Coach. Again, Carmen's got the microphone to be on the lookout for that. And we'll start with Coach. The floor is yours when you're ready.
You know, not too much to say. Obviously, you guys watched that, and the one thing we've talked about all the time is playing clean baseball. We didn't throw strikes. We didn't play good defense. We had some battle and some fight in us. We had some quality at bats. We put up a number of hits. I thought there was a couple times offensively where we came up empty. But at the end of the day, you can't give a club like that many outs. We didn't have one, 2, 3 inning the entire game. And so when you do that, and you have the crowd on their side, and momentum gets going, it's tough to put yourself in a position where you can walk out of here winning a ball game. And we had an opportunity to do so, and that's kind of what I told our guys at the end of the game. And it's nothing. I'm taking no credit away from what Mississippi State did, but we didn't make them work too hard for that win. If we're throwing strikes and we're playing defense, there's a lot of things that are different there.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get questions for the student athletes. Again, Carmen's got the microphone. We'll go here to Robbie here in the third row to the right.
Shanti had 3 hits. You guys had a pretty good approach all day against those pitchers. How did you feel like y'all handled things at the plate? 11 hits, I think, 6 runs, and had a couple of big innings as well.
I think we did pretty decent. I think we left some guys on base still, but as a whole, we could have been better.
Go ahead and get it to the back with Steve in the center in the black hat.
You guys had an opportunity there to really kind of break through, and it seemed like, as Coach said, you had the E4 there to kind of open the floodgates there. What's the mood like in the dugout after that inning?
I mean, we are never down on ourselves. We always lift each other up. So, I mean, it wasn't negative energy, but we was just trying to battle back. And, I mean, I think that we all had each other back. So, I mean, the mood was still positive.
Again, questions for the student athletes. We'll get the microphone to you. Go ahead and get it to this gentleman here in the front with the green Hawaiian shirt.
I just asked the players, did you feel at any point that you took the crowd out of the game? Because there were times it got pretty quiet. You know, you guys scored some runs, and I guess that's important when you're playing on the road, especially in a big crowd. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Shanti, we'll start with you.
It was exciting to hear the crowd. The whole game they were on me. So, I mean, I didn't think we took them out completely. I think they were just waiting on their moment. But yeah, I think they were there.
To be honest, I think we took them out just a little bit. We had them on their heels just a little bit, and I feel like if we would have just done better on one of the innings, I want to say the 5th, then I think it would have been completely silent. But other than that, it was a great atmosphere to play in. So we were eternally grateful for just to play in that atmosphere.
Go ahead and get it to the back of the camera wells, the gentleman from WAFB Baton Rouge.
Javian, how you were, I think 3 for 3, you ended up maybe 4 for 4, I can't remember there. How were you able to find success? What was working so well for you?
Just following my coach's list, get a good pitch to hit, be on time, and put a good swing on it. I was just picking one side of the plate and just rocking with it, and then I was able to get pitches there, and I was just able to make the most of it. That's all.
We've got time for a couple more questions for the student athletes. We'll get the microphone to you. We'll stay back in the back of the camera rolls, and then we'll head up here to the front row.
A question for both athletes. You guys talk about confidence all the time, and to be able to put up as many runs and hit as well as you guys did against this team, does that give you guys some extra confidence, I guess, heading into an elimination game like this?
I think what I try to go out and do every day is just to have fun, not try to put too much onto it, just to go out and do my best.
To be honest, I think our confidence is already there. We understand that we can hit any type of pitching. We just have to be on time. So I think that it probably helped our confidence just a little bit, but we already had confidence coming into this game.
Shanti, 2-part question for you. First thing you said, the fans were having some fun with you. Mm-hmm. Give me a sense of what they said and what in their comments towards you. And secondly, you played and you defeated LSU this year. Can you compare them and to what type of team you think Mississippi State has?
So first of all, so I would in between pitches, I'd take my glove off and put it on my head, and they just heckle me about that. And then what was the second part of your question? I'm sorry. LSU. The LSU. So when we played LSU at home the first time, I think our starters only stayed in for a couple innings because we didn't do well that game. So, and I can't really give you what those fans were. And then there was a midweek game, so it wasn't as packed either.
I'm talking about the team, compared to team LSU and Mississippi State. What type of team?
Oh, I'm sorry. They're both really good teams. They both hit well. They play defense well. I think they're in the same area.
Any other questions for the student athletes before we let them go and take questions for Coach? All right, we'll do one more with Reggie, and we'll let the players go after that. In the back, and the camera rolls over here in the gold shirt.
Coach always talks about playing clean baseball. I mean, in a game like this where you guys had so many opportunities and the, the margin was kind of slim, is it disappointing for you guys to, have some of those errors and some of those little smaller mistakes, and it can be for both athletes?
It's a little disappointing, but we're going to come out tomorrow and do our best again.
I mean, it's always disappointing, whenever you have errors because you work on that, especially the ones that you can control. But, I mean, we trust in our guys all the time, so I think that they'll be able to bounce back. So we'll just play hard tomorrow.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll go ahead and get going here with questions for Coach. Go ahead and start here in the front.
Baseball is often a game of momentum and momentum shifts. After Mississippi State took the lead in the 7th, you guys came out and got a walk and a double, nobody out. Can you talk about that stage of the game and what happened in that sequence afterwards?
Yeah, I think, like you said, my guys tease me about it because I talk about momentum is not something that really existed. Momentum is more about one team playing bad and the other team playing good at that time. But I think for us, we have that battling mentality, and like I said, we missed some opportunities there to come up big, and I think we push one or two across. Again, these guys aren't going to quit in their own stadium, but at the same time, we push a couple more across and we create a bigger margin for ourselves. I think we relax a little bit more and they get a little bit tight, because when you're in that environment, when it's win or go home and you're the number 1 seed and you're playing the number 4 seed and all of a sudden you got punched in the nose, again, I don't think there was any panic in that dugout, but we get to the 7th, 8th inning and there might be a little tightness. So, and that's what I told our guys at the end is that we didn't play clean. We talk about, again, throwing strikes, playing defense, quality at bats. I'll say that we did 1 of the 3. And against a team like this, you can't do that. You got to do all 3.
We'll go ahead to the back and the gentleman in the center, Steve in the black shirt.
Coach, you guys answered it seemed like every time until the final time there. Was there ever a moment where you just kind of felt like the game was slipping away?
Not really, just because of the way that we've battled all year. I think if there was any moment where I kind of saw a little of the wind out of our sails was when Ashanti led off there in the 9th. The swings were overly aggressive, as if he was trying to hit a 5-run home run, and there it was. Now they're putting that pressure on themselves to be the man in that situation. And we talked all year long about, I don't need anybody to be a hero. I just need you to go up and do what you're supposed to do your job. And so at that point, that's where I kind of felt like, I don't, we might be trying to do too much here in this situation. And then you add the crowd to it, and then it just kind of snowballs on you.
Go ahead and get it to the back in the cameras, and then we'll come back up front.
Carrick, with the little bit of a shaky start there, you guys settle in. How much do you attribute to that? Just kind of the arena, the stadium, the setting, and then did you expect something like that? And how satisfying was it to see your guys settle in there in, I guess, the 2nd or 3rd inning?
I think when you specifically you're talking about Jerome in that situation, and unfortunately that's who he's been. He's been that up and down guy for us all year, and when it's really, really good, he can go out and pitch well against anybody. And when he did settle in, and all of a sudden the change was working for him, and he was pitching both sides of the plate, he was able to get himself in a situation where he threw up a couple zeros. Had he started off like that, we're in a different situation. Like I said, looking down here, I think we gave him 9 free bases. I believe Mangum came to the plate for his 6th time in the 9th inning. So again, when you just by sheer arithmetic, if you get 5 at bats in a 9-inning game, either it's really weird that there's not a lot of runs scored, or there's going to be a lot of runs scored, and you get more comfortable at the plate the more times you go to it, regardless of who's on the mound and who's pitching.
Coach, I noticed that Johnny Johnson was slated to be up here, and then there was a change. So my question is, how are his spirits? I know he had the error there. He also was a hero for a time there with the home run. Talk about his spirits, if you would, and also about his overall performance today.
I'm sure his spirits are probably good. It was clutch that he came up and got the home run there, and that was a big hit at that time. But then at the same time, it was a big double play to be turned and a fly ball. But that's the nature of the beast, and so you hope that he's able to go and turn the page and have his mind right for tomorrow.
We'll stay on the front row to Coach's right.
Coach, this time of year is different than the regular season, even in weekend series, because you're playing a large number of games in a very short, abbreviated time span. And I'm wondering how that affects your decisions on bullpens and how you use pitchers. You use 4 today. What kind of spot are you in going forward? And then can you talk about just what you think about in tournament baseball and how you manage your pitching staff?
Well, I think when you're in tournament baseball, it's win or go home. So you do whatever you need to do to figure out how to get that win and get put yourself in a position to get a W. And so I think at this point of the year, all bets are off. We didn't overuse our guys during the course of the year. I think our Eli Finney, who will start for us tomorrow, I think he had 64 innings. So even Connor Whalen, our closer, who he just gave up his first earned runs of the year today. And we didn't overuse him either. So I think you find the situations that are right for the guys that you have and the makeup of your bullpen, and you use them in those situations. You get them used to those roles throughout the course of the year. And so then when those opportunities present themselves, they already know that, hey, this is my spot. This is where I'm going in. And they have that expectation, which allows them to go out and be a little bit more successful.
We've got time for a couple more. We'll go back to the third row to Coach's right, the gentleman in the hat.
Coach, on the flip side of that, you got the Mississippi State's bullpen fairly early when JT again had to come out. Just talk about the hopes y'all had when you were able to get out of the game early.
I think anytime you can get in anybody's bullpen on day one, you can get in there early. That's always a good thing. They run some good guys out of the pen, and so that's the one thing that for me when I was at Missouri and made the transition from the Big 12 to the SEC was the difference in bullpens and who they're running out of the bullpen. But again, I think our guys were in a position where they felt really, really good at the plate with what was going on, and we had a good approach today, and a plan, I should say, and some guys went out and executed the approach that we had and the plan that we had. So I think as they were rolling guys out there, we were still in that battle mode, and because we've come back in previous times, we knew that we could always come back and finish a game.
Back to the cameras.
Carrick, Javian's a guy that walks around with a lot of confidence sort of on a daily basis. He's your 9-hole hitter, but leading your team in average. Can you speak to his just individual performance? I mean, 3 for 3 and some driving the ball really all over the field.
Yeah, like you said, I think he's that energy guy. He, along with Tyler, can kind of be the heartbeat of the team. Javian's a little bit more outspoken than Tyler is. And as I said in a press conference before, people question why I have him in the 9-hole, and because it works. That's why I have him there. And what he does for us in that position, when he's able to turn that order over one extra time in the 6th or the 5th inning, and we get back to the top of the 9th, he's doing his job, as well as, like I said, I think he's .460 on base percentage and 29 stolen bases, and then that's also the reason why Tyler Laporte has 60 some odd RBIs.
Anybody else for questions for Coach before we let him go? All right, we'll wrap it up, and this will be